A few weeks ago, Kristen and I were out kayaking. This is the first time this season that we've been out on the creek. The water was a little high and the current was pretty strong, but it was a beautiful day and we were having a wonderful time just enjoying being outside. At one point, however, we came around a bend only to find that a tree had fallen down across the creek and ran from one bank to the other. There was no way around it. There was a small amount of space between the trunk and the water, so I decided to try to go under it. This proved to be more difficult than I anticipated. Now, I made it, but I didn't think it was a good idea for Kristen to try it. So I told her to stay where she was. I tied up my kayak below the hazard and waded back up to get to her. It was then that I realized just how fast the water was moving. I had a very difficult time getting back upstream to her. To make a long story short, I got up to her, got in her kayak, navigated under the tree again, while she walked down to below the tree. It wasn't until much later that I started thinking about how foolish it had been. I've heard reports on the news about people who drown while kayaking or floating on inner tubes in streams simply because they got tangled up in the limbs of a tree under the water, under the surface, and couldn't free themselves. It's easy to understand how on a warm summer day you could be lulled into a false sense of security. In the tranquility of floating down a stream in the woods, forget about the inherent dangers. But then that's true of all of life. We need to be careful not to lose sight of the fact that we have an enemy seeking to harm us. Peter cautions us with these words: "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." In our land of plenty and our culture of leisure, it's easy to lose sight of the reality that we are in a war. As you go through this day, take time to enjoy the beauty of God's creation, but don't lose sight of the danger of an enemy lurking right around the bend.